And we are rolling. So, here we go.
All right, Bill.
Hey, it's nice to meet you, Max.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Here today up at IDS. We got Max as a guest at the company. Got some sales dialogue information he's curious about, so we're going to go ahead and get this sales meeting kicked off.
All right, Brad, I got a few questions for you.
Absolutely.
Start off, what has led you to looking for a revised version of your glycol?
Okay, so the glycol we've currently been using is consists of a ethanol-based mixture that is not pre-mixed to a certain weather pattern degree. So we universally use all of our ethanol to glycol mixtures at a 50%, and as a result, we basically just universally apply it to the planes.
Gotcha.
Which means that in certain cases where it's really cold or certain cases where it's really warm, we use the exact same mixture. So it kind of gives us leeway for having kind of an inefficient amount of glycol used on each airplane. So that's kind of why we've been looking for maybe something that's
Something a little better.
a little bit better, a little bit more environmentally safe, because ethanol is really bad, really nasty for the surrounding area, and also just to kind of save us, money on budgeting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question is, what aspects for products do you prefer?
The aspects that we prefer is like high bulk amounts of the product. So like we would be looking to spend, less money if we could buy a more vast amount of glycol. And again, something a little bit more environmentally friendly, and also maybe, something that's going to stand out from the competitors, because everybody's doing this generic mixture for glycol to ethanol ratio for spraying planes and aircraft de-icing. If we could utilize some kind of superior mixture that, mixes it according to outside air temperature, we would save money. It would stand out to other companies, and all around just create more revenue. So
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool.
That makes sense to me. I understand that you guys have strict qualifications for what fluid you can use.
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on what qualifies your fluid?
Okay, so there's a couple different factors that qualify it. It can't be diluted with any contaminants, and that includes like debris, too much water, too less water, too much ethanol. Essentially, there's too many factors, but there's a refracting scale that we use before we go out and spray planes, and that basically tells us, hey, what efficiency is this fluid? Like, what is this fluid cut to? The percentage of ethanol to glycol percentage. So there's some strict qualifications in the devices we use, which I actually have one right here. These guys called refractometers. These are actually given to us, and they're very expensive, and these are used to qualify. Yeah, absolutely. These are used. They're approved by the FAA, and those are used to tell us the efficiency of the quality of the fluid we're using before we go out and spray planes with them. So super important stuff.
I see.
We got to play by their rules, so we use devices like this to tell us that our glycol we're using is up to spec. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What impact does an efficient glycol supplier have on your operation?
Oh, it's huge. We've had to switch to. We used to use Menzies Aviation for their fluids, but they kept running low. And then we had also some issues when we were getting deliveries last season, where they were coming in and we would have to test them multiple times just to ensure that they were actually good quality batches, because we got diluted samples, watered down samples, and anything in between from those guys. I mean, I don't know if their tanks are, there's something going on there, or if quality control is just not the best. So an efficient supplier is probably honestly one of the most important aspects of the operation, because we just burn through gallons of fluid. I mean, I think we spent 15,000 gallons of fluid just in the past 3 days. So
that's insane.
Super important. We're always at a need for it.
And it hasn't even been that cold out.
Absolutely. Not yet.
So, is the company trying to reach new levels of standards to progress the growth of the operation?
Yeah, we're always looking. We have Amazon getting built right across the road. We're trying to impress them so we can land a contract with them.
Absolutely.
The amount of revenue that the station's brought in, it's been here for this station with the company's been here for 9 years. Every year is exponential growth. There's never been a year where we made less money or less revenue than the previous year. We actually just doubled the amount of commercial airlines that we're spraying on this side of the airport this season alone. So things are only going up. So we're only going to need more efficient ways of getting things done. On top of that, we need more reliable sources of glycol and suppliers too.
Gotcha.
So,
how vital is the glycol your company uses, and what negative aspects would take place if the glycol proved to be ineffective?
So the glycol is basically the bread and butter of the company. If the glycol is not up to spec or isn't heated to the right temperature or cut at the right mix, it's not going to do its job, and as a result, that's going to not be a safe procedure for everybody involved. For us, for the airlines using the aircrafts that we're de-icing, that's the whole purpose of our job, is to ensure safety by de-icing the aircraft, because it can't fly. I don't know if you know the clean aircraft concept, but it basically states that a clean aircraft is one that's able to get in the air and safely fly. If they still have ice and debris on them, it's not safe to fly them because it cuts down on aerodynamics.
Gotcha.
So essentially, that would be a fatal mistake, not just for the sake of getting the company into trouble and us in trouble, but also for the safety of those who are on board that aircraft. It can be fatal. So super important to make sure the glycol is actually efficient and effective as well.
Gotcha. What impact does the service have on your customers if the glycol doesn't perform well?
Well,
you kind of answered that.
Truthfully, I kind of answered it in the last one, but that could be anything from a distasteful experience where they don't want to use us anymore to de-ice the aircraft because it took too long or it didn't do the best that it could be, or it could even be as far as putting their lives in danger. If they take off and they still have ice built up on the other sides of the wings and flaps that are not operable because of they're frozen shut. That could be a life or death scenario. So what we do out here is, it's actually pretty big deal. So we got to make sure we're, doing everything we can to make sure people are safe.
Absolutely.
So that just ensures that we kind of have a trust foundation of business, like a trust-based business foundation, essentially, so that we're ensuring they'll come back to us again next year, and that they'll also land safely too. Because if they get up in the air and things aren't right, it's not like a car you can just pull over. If they're up there, they're locked in. So they got to be sure that everything we did for them was right. I can also demonstrate to you how our newly formulated glycol is more efficient than the current generic blend ethanol-based solution we've been using. This will cut down on gallons. It'll also, usually generate a quicker result for faster de-ice time, so that they're getting on and off the pads with us and getting in the air faster, as well as leaving a minimal carbon footprint in the process. This is water-based ethanol. The difference, obviously, is that there's no I meant to say glycol. The difference being is that there's no ethanol in this. So this is water-based glycol. I know it's kind of a bunch of words to get mixed up in there. But essentially, that means that this is way safer for the environment. You can get this on your skin. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to be just as effective. And it's also mixed. Like I said, we used a 50% ethanol blend last time, and that's what we have been using in the company. If we could get this to go mainstream with our company, this right here, so the outside air temperature currently is plus 7 degrees Celsius. This is cut at a 33% mixture, which means that it's proper between a negative 18 freeze point and a negative 7 degrees Celsius loud. So basically that means that this is good for this temperature range. If it gets colder, we can add more glycol to water, and it'll offset the balance. And we only use glycol as we need it. So I'm not saying we use the bare minimum amount of glycol that is needed for de-icing, but at the same time, though, it's just the right amount. You don't need to overuse amounts of glycol if you don't necessarily need it. So, and that gets applied in the same way the ethanol-based stuff was being used, except this time around, it's just safer for everybody involved in the process. Absolutely. And it also saves us gallons of glycol. Glycol is expensive, so it's very important to see how that all comes together. But like I said, we blended to an exact mixture based upon air temp. This uses less glycol. It's environmentally safer because it's water-based, obviously. But other than that, that's basically everything I can anticipate with this product. So hopefully we can make something happen and switch over to it. All right.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have for you today.
Absolutely. Brad. Thank you, sir. Max, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting up next time.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.